Well, guys, the undefeated season has come to an end. The Chargers picked up a 21-18 loss this afternoon against the New York Giants. Very, very slow start to the game, which I wasn't too surprised with given that it's a West Coast team, obviously traveling to the East Coast and having to play a 10 a.m. game. There was a lot of things clearly that went wrong in this one. Offensively, Justin Herbert threw two picks. The two picks in itself is bad, but when you have big returns off of them, it makes it even worse. The second one was an absolute killer too. The Chargers were down 10-21 in this game, guys, and they fought back. They had a chance to get the ball, and Herbert pushed it down the field, but he just overthrew Johnson. And the second one, they didn't have enough time to do anything. Not to mention as well, they had all three timeouts, and just Cam Scattaboo. It looked like LaDainian Tomlinson today. Turnovers were an absolute killer, and I know people are gonna make the excuse of, well, the Chargers, they didn't have three of their linemen, which I get. I mean, like it's justified, but you still cannot lose to the New York Giants. Doesn't matter who isn't playing. If Herbert's on the field, you've got to go out there and get this win no matter what. Herbert, I get he was under pressure the entire game, but those two interceptions were the reason why the Chargers lost this game because, and then went for two as well. So, I mean, we're talking about 8 points single-handedly, actually more 11 because there was a field goal off of the first one, I want to say. So, 11 points were solely because Justin Herbert threw interceptions, guys. They scored 21. Like, we've got to keep that in mind here. The run defense was awful. It was absolutely, it was just garbage, man. There's no other way around it. It was embarrassing. They look soft. If you call a football team soft, I mean, you sure as hell better mean it, man. It's literally like the worst thing you can call a football team. The Chargers were freaking soft today. 161 rushing yards. I'm pretty disgusted, honestly, by the way they played, but there's no reason to overreact too much, man. It's a week to week league, and you could beat the Chiefs one week and lose to the Giants the next one. This team just needs to get healthy, and thankfully Joe Alt looks like he's going to be okay. Khalil Mack is going to be back in a couple of weeks, so Rashawn Slater's out for the year, but a lot of these injuries aren't exactly to the point where it's like really, really devastating. If the Chargers just start getting guys back, I mean, a lot of these issues will be fixed. But defensively, Khalil Mack's really good against the run. But I mean, we're talking about Scattaboo was just getting to the second, third levels even for pretty easily. 25 for 79 isn't going to kill you, but it's the fact that Jackson Dart had 54 yards with his legs. There was also a 38-yard run that he had that was called back due to a hold as well. So those numbers wouldn't have been even more inflated. Devin Singletary, 7 for 28. He had like 3 yards in his first three carries as well. So you can see the next one's kind of picked up some yardage. Really, the most frustrating thing was late in this game, the Chargers had all three timeouts and they weren't able to get a stop. And then they used a 2-minute warning. They got the ball back, but there wasn't enough time. And Malik Neighbors also left this game very, very early. Looks like he's out for the season, man. My prayers to him. My condolences, man. I mean, that's just it's just devastating, man. I mean, as a Charger fan, losing Slater, they lose Neighbors. It's just there's nothing worse. Jackson Dart through the air. He only had 111 yards, but he was pushing the ball down the field. I mean, 20 attempts, 111 yards. A lot of just finding the soft spots in the zone. I mean, Dart obviously didn't push it down. He was sacked 5 times. Tuli Tupelotu had what, 3.5 of those, 4. 96 rating. Jackson Dart looked electric, man. I don't know if this game says more about the Chargers or the Giants. The Giants with Dart honestly could go on a run, or were the Chargers just bad? Like maybe a little bit of both. Quentin Johnson, 98 yards. Maureen Hampton, 120 yards rushing. He only had 4 carries in the first half. He should have had more than 12 carries in this game. Like there's no question. We saw how electric and elusifying he can be with that 54-yard rushing touchdown. Also had a couple of runs where he broke several tackles and refused to go down. Keenan Allen, quiet game. Ladd McConkey, just 1 catch for 11 yards. Now, you're probably wondering why. Thunder Alley, why did these guys not get more involved? Well, in order to get the ball to your receiver's hands, you have to be protected. You have to allow them to get open so you can throw the ball down the field. And the Chargers weren't able to do that, which I get. But again, the Chargers, despite pretty much everything going wrong, they should have won this game. If Justin Herbert doesn't throw 2 picks, the Chargers win this game. And the reason why I'm being so harsh on Herbert is because of the standard I hold him to. I hold Herbert to the same standard I would as a Patrick Mahomes or a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson or a Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. Like, Justin Herbert's on that level, and he needs to prove it, man. He needs to be able to find ways to win these games. And, with the Chiefs, of course, being 1-2 right now, potentially 1-3 at the time of you listening to this if they lose to the Ravens, like, you just can't be dropping these games, man. We're talking about winning the division, Hell, getting a bye. The Bills won today. I don't know if they did, but last time I checked, they were up. I think it was like 10 points or something over the Saints, right? So yeah, they probably won that game. But as a Charger fan, man, this is just it's just blatant stupidity. Like as soon as the Chargers lost this game, I thought of the title of this video. The Los Angeles Chargers just dealt with blatant stupidity. So much stupidity, I really don't even want to talk about this game. I am going to get the film and break it down for you guys tomorrow. The game film doesn't come out until the next day. So we'll go over why exactly the Chargers lost. And I'll show you guys specifically off of the pressures and how they weren't able to scheme anyone open, man. But wow, was the Chargers offensive line bad in this game. And it makes sense because you're down 3 guys against a really good front. But the first half was truly the issue, is that the Chargers just couldn't get anything going. They scored 10 points in the second quarter. Of course, they had like 30 seconds left. They scored a touchdown. But this team, if they were running the ball a little bit more throughout the game, they would have been able to do so much more offensively. And it takes a lot of pressure off of your offensive line. But yeah, I'm going to go to the first half thoughts for the rest of the way. All right, guys. So this is the first time I've ever done this, but it's currently halftime, and I wanted to give my thoughts on that. So the Chargers are currently down by 3 points. It's 13-10. I have a lot of concerns with the way this game has gone. It looks a lot better than it's been, of course, because there was a 4th and 2. The Chargers went for it in Giant territory. They end up picking it up, and then they have that big time throw to Quentin Johnson for 36 yards and the touchdown. It was sort of like a stutter and go type of route. It was awesome. The Chargers have not looked very good in this game, though. The issue when you only run the ball 4 times in the first half is that it puts the offensive line in a difficult situation, especially when you're down 3 starters to this point, because Joe Alt ended up getting carted off the field. The Giants aren't very good at very many things, but one thing they do very, very well is rushing the quarterback. I mean, they've got several first rounders on their defensive line, and we've seen each and every one of them make plays in this game. It's just been a nightmare. Herbert's constantly under pressure, and the way that you sort of want to negate that is to run the ball. The Chargers, they haven't been able to run the ball this season, though. That's the issue. They couldn't run it last year, and they can't run it this year, and losing Najee Harris didn't help. And again, when you're down 3 offensive linemen, you're very, very handicapped. No Joe Alt, which means that Austin Deculus, who's a special teams guy, had to come in and play. Trey Pipkins is out there. Jamari Sawyer's out there. No Mekhi Becton. As I mentioned, he's probably not going to play because he has a concussion. In a week, it just doesn't really work like that. So you have an offensive line that's struggling. We also had Lad McConkey have 2 drops. That 3rd down in the opening drive, literally, he has to bring that in. Keenan Allen, I thought, made a couple of very, very good catches on that touchdown drive. Defensively, the Chargers gave up a long touchdown drive to start off the game after they, of course, ended up going 3 and out. Overall, the defense outside of that drive has actually played well. I mean, you don't like to see the Giants have 13 points at half. If they're able to replicate that, that's 26 points. I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to score more than that. So, man, they're going to have to be lights out in the second half. Just give the offense a chance. The run defense has been very, very bad. Cam Scadabu has 10 carries for 46 yards, which, of course, is 4.6 yards per carry. That actually hasn't been the problem. The problem's been Dart's rushing ability, his athleticism, especially on 3rd downs where there's no one open and he just runs up the middle of the field and gets it. He had a 15-yard run in this game, 6 for 44 and a rushing touchdown. Devin Singletary has 3 carries for 5 yards. They've kept him in check. Malik Neighbors, 20 yards. He ended up getting carted off the field, was screaming in pain, man. It was just tough to watch as a fan of football. So with Neighbors no longer in the game, it's going to be very, very difficult for Giant receivers to get open. Darius Slayton drew a pass interference on Dante Jackson. I mean, I'm honestly glad that Jackson committed that penalty, just grabbed him because that would have been a touchdown. So, all of a sudden, that's a 4-point swing by committing a penalty. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I played corner, obviously not the NFL level, far from it. It's very, very difficult. It's probably the most difficult position outside of quarterback. I think it's the most difficult position outside of quarterback. So, what happens? Guys get beat, and you just don't want to give up a touchdown. And the Chargers defense definitely bailed them out on that one. The Giants just are horrible in the red zone. Even with Russ, they were last, and I mean, they'll be better with Dart because of his athleticism. He's got huge arm and things like that. He could fit into tight windows, but really, I mean, yeah, the Chargers, they had an awesome drive to end the half. The start of the game was a disaster, but there's still 30 more minutes of football to be played. I am concerned with how this game is going to go. I think the Chargers will win. I don't think it's going to be pretty by any means. But this offensive line is in serious, serious trouble. The fact that Chargers are only down 3 is actually impressive. Like, it feels like they should be down like 16. But because, of course, Herbert found Johnson on that double move route, they're down 3. The Giants will get the ball to open up this half. I have faith in the defense. I honestly don't think the Giants are going to even score a touchdown in the second half. They might kick a field goal or two. If I'd have to guess, the Giants probably get 3 more points in the second half. And then the Chargers, I'm sure, will score like 10 more points. So it'll probably be 20 to 16. Let's see if I'm right. Hopefully I am right, because if I'm not, I'm going to look like the biggest idiot in the world for saying what I'm saying. But yeah, guys, let me know if you want more videos like this after the game, where it's like I get my first half thoughts, and then we'll give my thoughts in the second half.